Stove, yeah. Stove.
Oh, put myself. Hey, yeah.
Stove.
All right, it's time for some Hot Stove. Mainly so we can play that song because we love it.
About 50% of the reason we do this.
Yeah, no. There's always action going on, kind of under the radar kind of stuff. We talked about this 2 weeks ago, and last week we mentioned it just again because they didn't give an update, but Dave Nabrowski just gave an update on Bryce Harper's elbow. He said, and I quote, that he tore his UCL in April, and it prevented him from playing the field the rest of the season, which means it was partially torn, and he couldn't throw, and so at least he could hit, and he was unbelievable. Guy was unbelievable in the postseason. And the platelet-rich plasma injection that we've talked about with doctors sometimes can help, maybe not. And so then they had to do another MRI when the season was over just to see the extent of the injury. They decided on Tommy John surgery, and so you will not see Bryce Harper for at least 3 months of the 2023 season. I don't know if you'll see him at all, but it all depends on how it heals. But I don't think he'll be throwing. This reminds me of what's his face with the Angels.
Trout?
No, the Asian kid.
Shohei
Ohtani. So when Shohei Ohtani had his Tommy John surgery, it prevented him from throwing, but he could hit. And remember, when you get to Tommy John, you're getting a brand new tendon. It's just, or ligament. It's just, the problem is they want it to heal. You have to cut holes in the bones, drill holes in the bones, and make a figure 8 in the elbow to pull the bones together. So that being said, that has to heal for 6 months. And guys have been coming back in 12 months. It used to take 18 months to 24 months for pitchers. And so now we're seeing it more regularly in everyday players. And so I honestly think the Phillies don't need to rush him. But if they're playing well, they could probably get him back by August and September. And, again, it would be just like this year where he can't play the field, but having the designated hitter in the National League now permanently, you're allowed that unbelievable bat right after the trade deadline. So I think that look for him in July, August, in some kind of hitting capacity, but I don't think you're going to see this kid throw a baseball next year.
Can I ask you something about the mental capacity of, trying to keep the cards close to the vest during the whole season? You're in front of reporters all the time.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, but who are we keeping it from?
Well, you're keeping it from your opponents, number one.
I know that, but now, when the World Series ended and it was elbow soreness for 2 weeks. Who are we keeping it from?
That was kind of some hogwash. You don't need to do that. That's not necessarily what I would, prescribe because you want honesty for your fan base. But remember, you're also trying to sell season tickets. You're also trying to recruit free agents. And so you don't want to let the cat out of the bag until after you possibly have some guys wanting to come play with Bryce Harper. Oh, by the way, you're not going to have Bryce Harper for half next season, maybe the whole season. You have no idea. So, again, Dave Dombrowski, who I trust, and he's one of the classiest people in baseball, one of the things he said, we have no prognosis until the doctors come out of the surgery and tell us the extent of the injury. Was there any other kind of damage to the elbow by not doing the surgery earlier? Those are some of the things that I'm sure they're looking into. But remember, the rehab process is as much healing as it is getting this guy back up to baseball speed. And I think that the longer that they waited and, for selfish reasons, they thought they could win a World Series, that could cost them some of next year or all of next year. But that was the cards that they played. They got to the World Series and they lost. But I think it was well played by the Phillies. All the other stuff, I think that's strategic and posturing and things like that. But you don't want people throwing at his elbow if you know it's hurt. It's kind of like football, but it's different. I mean, if you know a guy's got a bad injury, in football, you can attack that. In baseball, that would kind of be pathetic if you started trying to drill this dude in the elbow.
Yeah. Isn't it tough, though, for an everyday guy to get into this situation? I'm looking at the list. Aaron Hicks, he was one a couple of years ago, but he's playing outfield, and he's throwing it most of the time. Shin-Soo Choo, one of my faves, he's playing outfield almost every day, so he's throwing it all the time. Bryce Harper plays some right every now and then. He's pretty much a DH for the last 4 or 5 years. So how does Well, when he was with the Nationals, he had to get in there and play some right field every now and then. How does it happen with a guy that only bats?
I don't recall how he hurt it, but it could have been swinging and snapping it. Remember, he's a left-handed hitter, so it's that front elbow that you're snapping. Or it could have been a throw. This dude, listen, he throws the ball 95 miles an hour. He legit throws the ball 95 miles an hour from the outfield. Was a pitcher in high school, was clocked in the upper 90s, was a catcher for most of his career. And everybody's just one throw away from popping that UCL. There's no doubt in my mind. And so, the more that they're like, don't have a lot of innings on these guys. Don't have too many pitches thrown in. I don't believe in any of that stuff. I think at the lower levels, when your growth plates for kids don't finish growing till you're 18 to 20 years old as an adult, that's different. That's trying, I don't want to destroy a kid by having him throw 200 pitches when he's 12.
Right.
That's insane. But when a guy's a major leaguer and he's 25 years old, 10 or 15 pitches, as I've already said, you're throwing 5 in between every inning, so you could throw in another 45, 50 pitches per start that the dude's throwing. You could throw another 50 pitches into his warm-up. If that's a light warm-up for these guys. Go watch a guy warm up. I watched Garrett Cole do it when I went to the Yankees game. He long-tossed. He did all kinds of stretching. Then he threw his bullpen before the game. He threw over 50 pitches there. Then he goes out in the game. He throws another 110, add on another 50. He threw 200 pitches every start. So to be like, well, instead of throwing, 125 pitches, that 105 pitches is going to save that. Give me a break. You have no idea. There's no data to back that up. So with a guy that's, they don't take as much. Here's the thing that I believe. They don't take infield and outfield as much as we used to. So you're not building up endurance in that arm. So sometimes you could go a week without throwing 100% adrenalized throws from right field to second, right field to home, right field to third, and all of a sudden that one he's got to hump up and try to throw a guy out the game tying or game winning run at third base or at home, and he pumps it up and he hurts himself. A lot of that could be because we're constantly doing less things instead of the way they used to be done, which is building up arm endurance, doing things every day so your body doesn't overreact to it when you need it. And so I think that could be a lot of what happened there. Some of the other news that's going on, let's get into.
Yeah,
big news with the Astros is big Jose Abreu, the first baseman, DH, of the Chicago White Sox. This dude in his career, now he is 35 years old. They're saying it's a 3-year contract with the Astros that they've agreed to with Jose Abreu. But, man, what a bat. He hit 305 again this year. He hit 15 home runs, 75 RBI. But, again, maybe that you can look at that as a down year. Maybe it was just he was being pitched tough. A lot of games that I watched that guy when he didn't have all the guys protecting him in that lineup, because it's not an all-star lineup like the Yankees, Red Sox, Astros. You can pitch around Jose Abreu. But now when he's in that lineup, you watch some of the fastballs that he jacks out of Houston. It's going to be unbelievable. He's going to think he died and went to heaven hitting in that ballpark. Left field for him, he can tap it to left field playing in Chicago at that stadium that I used to play at. You have to hit bombs to get it out of left or center. Not anymore in Minute Maid. So, Jose Abreu, 3-year deal with the Houston Astros, and returning or going back to that division, Mike Clevenger signs a contract with the Chicago White Sox to pitch for them from the San Diego Padres. So he gets to pitch against his old Cleveland Guardian teammates and give them some what for in a Chicago uniform.
Yeah, that'll be some juice. Hopefully he comes back 100%. It's been a while since we've seen Clevenger perfect like when he was in Cleveland. But he knows that division, man, and I think he's a really good one. Good pickup for them.
It is a good pickup.
The White Sox are trying to go with some pitching now, and which is a great idea in my book. There's some great pitchers out there, by the way. Verlander is doing his recruiting tour, going to every single team. Yep. DeGrom and my guy Rodon on top of those lists as well. So there's a good mix of starters that are out there, but this, I think, is a really good one, especially if it pays off. If Clevenger's the old Clevenger from Cleveland, you're talking a 20-win starter right there.
Yep. You've got Mitch Haniger, Sean Manaea, Jamison Taillon, Nathan Eovaldi, Tyler Anderson, I think just signed. Anthony Rizzo signed back. Ross Stripling is out there. Zach Eflin is out there. So, you look at some of these free agents. By the way, last year's record for free agent spending was $3.625 billion, breaking the previous mark of $2.4 billion the year before. So it's projected to go over $3 billion in free agents signing with new teams this year.
You see who Justin Verlander was hanging out with today?
No.
Los Angeles Dodgers.
I could see him doing that. I could see Verlander going to like 3 or 4 teams because he knows at 39 years old, time is of the essence to get on a competitive playoff type team.
He just won a World Series.
No, he doesn't care. He wants another one. He's greedy. He's got 2 rings. Listen, this dude's donating his salary to charities and stuff. He doesn't need it for the money. He's doing it for his legacy now in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I think Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, Padres, possibly even right back to the Astros. Listen, he's comfortable there. He's got a house there. I think that, a lot of these guys will get wined and dined and up their fee. A lot of it is a negotiating strategy to get more money out of your home team. And, let's see where Aaron Judge goes, because Aaron Judge is one of the big free agents out there. Trey Turner's another one. Correa is another one. I've heard a lot of action around Boston and the New York teams looking to get Correa, looking to get Trey Turner. I know Trey Turner has said he wants to go to Philadelphia. Now with that injury to Bryce Harper, that's probably why they didn't want that news to be out there. Trey Turner's price tag going to Philly just went up.
For sure. I know we got to move on. I just want to bring this one up because he's kind of a show fave. Did you see the best first baseman / guitar player, Carlos Santana?
Santana went to Pittsburgh.
Oh,
well, he hadn't been playing there. So, that's the venue he wanted to play his guitar and,
Exactly. Getting that Pittsburgh market.
Dude, beautiful ballpark.
Out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and to Pittsburgh. Good for him.
You weren't here when we went over the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We should maybe tomorrow or the next day go back over there.
I'll get heated.
Rob Halford was singing with Dolly Parton. I saw it over the weekend. I was like,
what? Where
are we doing?
Jolie?
Jolie.
Is that what it was?
Yep, it was Jolie. Yep, it was.
What did he do? What was his part?
He was the part of the duet.
What? I kind of got to see
how
this.
they all mix it up and stuff
I got to
like
see
that.
this.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you didn't have to change the gender when you're singing about...
Oh, man.
Was he wearing spike sleeves?
No, he was just cash.
For him.
Yeah, for him. I mean...
Dressed down is dressed down.
Did you hear what he said, though, when people were like, oh, by the way, it took a while for you to come out. He's like, seriously? Took you that long to realize I was gay? The outfits I was wearing?
Well, I told you about the interview. I did.
Oh, yeah. Well, the one you did, but,
And that was 20 years ago.
But he was, listen.
Dude's a man. He is a rock god.
He could sing.
Rock god. But it is a interesting duet there.
Yeah, we got a lot of free agent news coming up, but, some of these big guys have to sign to set the bar, see if they're going to make 35, 40, 50 annually, and then you're going to see some of these other guys that will be out there. But, man, there's a lot of huge names. Remember, Tim Anderson is out there. Chris Sale is out there. Charlie Morton is out there, just to name a few. So, just because you see Verlander, don't think that teams aren't looking at the Mike Clevingers and maybe a tier down because you got to fill out the depth chart on your pitching staff. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Dama Mori is in flight. He's coming back from Oregon. He was just at the Phil Knight Classic, Legacy Classic with the UConn teams, and he's going to talk about all of that kind of stuff. And then maybe he heard some rumors and speculation out there, too, while he's out there. Seattle Mariners seem to be gobbling up a lot of free agents and making a lot of trades. So we'll talk to Dama Mori from the Hartford Current around 4:15, 4:25, somewhere in there, wherever we can fit him in, we will. We'll come back with the first dibs question of the day next.